Welcome to In This Season podcast, where we unpack the most empowering conversations, have exclusive and inspirational interviews, and host special events. Join Tammy, some call her Butterfly, and explore life's purpose by learning how to embrace each season of your life with confidence, strength, and purpose. Whether you're blooming in the spring, or shining in the summer, or embracing change in the fall, or gracefully hibernating in the winter, get ready to be inspired. Join us right here on this season of In This Season podcast with your host, The Butterfly. It's time, no matter what season it is.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, beautiful people. How is it going out there? Welcome to day 185, I believe. Let me bring Brandon on in so that we can get the barbecue started. Good morning, Brandon. How's it going?
Good morning. It's going good. How you doing today, sweetie?
I'm doing wonderful, So, how was your day yesterday?
My day was good. It was great. It was productive. It was family oriented. It was restful in part. It was I ate too much in another part, so a little bit of gluttony in me. I ate way too much, especially when I came back over your house, man. I ate that fish and fries and buffalo and what kind of fish was it?
You had catfish. It was buffalo and catfish, but you
Buffalo
had catfish. And Halloween.
Yeah, that was delicious. And came home, went to sleep, man. Didn't even bake my cookies last night.
What?
Yeah, I was tired. I got some work done yesterday too. Kind of had not an emergency, but I had something that was more urgent that needed to be taken care of at a property, and went and did it real quick, same day that I found out. So that was I like doing that because it keeps the morale high in your customers, and they're sure to tell people about you. Like, oh, he came the same day I called him. So I thought yesterday was productive.
Yeah.
What about you?
Same here. Got to see you guys, see those grandbabies, and love on them, and they love on me. So when I get to do that, a few challenges in there, but I'm just gonna tell y'all about the good things.
But tell me about the challenges so I can get them. No, this
I know. Well, it was just life, just work stuff. Just challenges. Yeah. So nothing bad. So y'all, good. Let's do this. Put my coffee down and do what we're supposed to do, right? Good everything, everybody. Miss Brenda says, welcome back. Checked in on her yesterday and she said she was fine. So Big Mike is back as well. He has, I know he had a great day because he shared some things with me. So he says, good morning, everyone. He has a laughing emoji and he says, Tammy, bring me a plate. I love fish. So, yeah, man, we fried it up. He said, it's my day to treat myself. I tell you what, you're welcome to it because I ain't coming nowhere near Cordoba. Well, let me say this because, as soon as you say you ain't, you will have to. I don't plan to. It's not part of my goals today. So you're welcome to come get you a plate. NT time. So that's who's in the chat with us right now. Yeah, NT time. So let's check it out so we can get our Instagram people going and want to send some love out to our YouTubers. We're getting more people that are listening from there. So I want to give you guys a shout out. Please forgive me if I don't always do that, but we are truly grateful for you being there as well. So we're going to get our Instagram started and we're going to get right into day 185. Miss Richetta, Auntie Richetta is in with us now. She says, good morning, Butterfly and family. And we got 2 hearts and that kiss today. We look forward to seeing you out there. So thank you for rocking with us. All right.
Good morning. Good morning. I did send the Instagram feed, so hopefully we can get those
Yeah.
people joined in as well.
All right. Here we go. I gotta find a better way to do this. All right. There you go.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Let's see. Today's title is an interesting one. I didn't get to read, so this is going to be new to me. But the title for sure is interesting.
I had not looked
So
at it. Let's see. All right. Well, let me get these Instagram people in, and we will go full throttle. There we go. They should be in. All right, cool. Well, if nobody, if there isn't any other shout outs we want to do, we can go ahead and jump straight into the show. So, y'all,
I
thank you
think
for. Go
I think
ahead.
we're good.
We're all good.
I think we're good. Yeah, I think so. Big Al Sal. I did get a message by way of someone else. Alvin Williams said that he pops in. There he is. I don't know how I've missed your messages. I'm pretty sure. I feel like I've read them when I've seen them. But please forgive us if we've missed anything. Big Al Sal. All right, he is in the house. Alvin Williams Jr. Maybe if I call him by his right name, he'll know I'm reading his message because I just create names for people, y'all. I really do. I give you a whole nother name.
Big Al Sal.
Big Al Sal. I don't know why. I call him Big Al Sal.
Well, y'all,
So
if this is your first time here joining, welcome. This is the End the Season podcast, where my mother and I read through this book called Daily Motivations for African American Success. We read it, offer our insights, have a brief discussion, see what we can pull out, what wisdoms and witticisms we can pull out, share those with you, have a discussion with you, read the comments, and we get on out of here, guys. So we're just doing some daily motivations, affirmations, and inspirations to keep your fire lit as you go out there every single day and seek to be successful, putting one step before the other, doing the internal work and working on transforming our lives for the better by doing that character development, by doing that introspection, right? And taking inventory and account of who we are, what we are, and whose we are, right? So a little bit more about this book, Daily Motivations for African American Success, will help you focus on the thoughts, attitudes, and deeds that will lead to the achievement of your true goals. In 365 short but powerful motivations, one for each day of the year, Dennis Kimbro, the author of the popular Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice, leads us to discover how to use the present moment and our own gifts to transcend labels, cultivate a positive attitude, become wise enough to know when to say yes and when to say no, and to look inward for answers to life's challenges. Each motivation begins with words of wisdom from some such distinguished and celebrated African Americans as Malcolm X, Marion Wright Elderman, Whoopi Goldberg, Charlene Hunter Galt, Mr. Bill Cosby, Carl Rowan, Mother Hale, Reverend Leon Sullivan, and hundreds of others. This treasure trove of practical inspiration will give you fresh encouragement every day of the year. What it teaches will last you a lifetime. It says on here, each affirmation is in this valuable and thought-provoking book takes only a few minutes to read, but is worthy of more time for contemplation. That's what Black Enterprise said about this book. This book was published back in 1992, so there's a little bit of age on it, but it's interesting just how much of it applies to right here, right now, today. Right. So again, Daily Motivations for African American Success by Dennis Kimbro. Get the book if you can. It's worth the buy. It's worth the buy. This is how it looks. Mom's is all tethered up. Mine's a little bit, but not as much. But thank y'all again for joining us. Let's jump right into it. Mom, you got anything before I jump in there?
let's jump. Let's
do it. So I just read the title. Today's title on August the 3rd is called For Women of Color. For Women of Color. And Mary McLeod Bethune, who's an educator, said, I refused to be discouraged, for neither God nor man could use a discouraged soul. I refuse to be discouraged. Neither God nor man could use a discouraged soul. Several years ago, a 54 several years ago, 54 women from every part of the country toured the nation. Some of the women have famous names, others are unsung. Some remember when racial integration and women's liberation were almost unimaginable. Others were barely aware when circumstances began to change. Yet all dared to dream of a world where character and accomplishment would conquer color and gender. A
Mm.
photographer captured the project in black and white. He said because it allowed him to, quote, weave images together in a way that color does not allow. The result was a moving photo essay entitled I Dream a World. These women acted on their dreams and changed America in the process. Professional storyteller Jackie Torrance recounts the days that few remember. As a child, she secretly tested whites only water fountains to see if the water came out white. Other testimonies recalled the highs and lows of the civil rights movement, when women took the first steps of civil disobedience to challenge discrimination. Some, like Myrlie Evers, widow of civil rights activist Medgar Evers, warned that all those hard-won gains could be lost. I feel as though I should shout from the mountaintops, don't you see what's happening? Don't let history repeat itself, she said. Many face the continuing battle with remarkable good humor. Chicago teacher Marva Collins, confronted with an illiterate 17-year-old white student's racist epithet, responded, sweetheart, when you learn to read, write, and spell Jungle Bunny, Miss Collins will take offense to it. Another powerful subject was Marion Wright Elderman, who called this group of 54 achievers, quote, ordinary women of grace. Let us all take a few minutes to recognize our sisters, women of color who struggle on our behalf. And our affirmation and inspiration at the bottom of the page reads, today, I will praise all women of color who struggle against the odds to make this a better world. Again, today, I will praise all women of color who struggle against the odds to make this a better world. Over to you, Mom. This one's all yours. This one's all yours.
Why?
Because you're my beautiful woman of color that gave birth to me. So I gotta give it over to you. I might add a couple things at the end, but I want to hear from you.
You know what? I don't know if I have much to say, and I'll say that, and I'll have a whole lot later, right? Um, Man, this last part, let us all take a few moments to recognize our sisters, women of color who struggle on our behalf. On our behalf. I loved that. That struck differently. The other was very informative. I mean, I receive it. I don't feel like it's much to give other than much more to give other than to recognize and to make sure or to feel that what is said here that a woman of color will receive it, right? She will receive and understand her worth and her value, right? Because I could turn this into a lot. I could turn this, it made me think even about you as a little child with the white gravy. You remember that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'll
You're
tell
not a
that story.
sister, but yeah, you have to tell that story. Um, and it reminded me of the school, Miss Arlene, who listens here every day as well. She's a quiet listener, but I call her my spiritual mom. I really do. I'm thankful for her. And it's Brandon's grandma. Um, but I remember us over lunch, and I shared this, telling me about how even in the schools that were predominantly all probably Black students, teachers, faculty, and staff, and all of that, how even then, if you were a dark complected sister, girl, woman, well, I'll say young student for this story, that you could not be a cheerleader. And so as I think about how many things have ripped us apart as women, and all women of color, right? Because I'm also reminded of my cousin Nicole. It wasn't just her though, but I found out about it through her, and I've shared this story as well, where I just always felt like they, many of them didn't like, many of my cousins, let me just be specific, didn't like me. I felt like as a young girl, they didn't like me and didn't know why. I really didn't. And so years later, we're adults. I have a son, and we ended up working in the mall across from each other. And I said, hey, we're here. Let's do lunch together sometime. And so we bonded. We became not just cousins. We became friends. Friends. We connected. And I remember one day she said to me, and she gave me a gift. Like, she came with a gift. And it was, to me, it was saying, like, you know what? We had you all wrong based on the color of your skin. So all these things trickled down, like races became races within our own race, right? Light skin, dark skin, all this stuff. And in a way, it still haunts us today. So I received my cousin's I'm sorry. That was her way of saying, I'm sorry. So it proved that what I was feeling back then was right. But it doesn't matter, because we found a way to connect. And thank God for us getting jobs right across from each other, right? Because if we had not, a beautiful friendship would, with a, and God rest her soul, we later ended up losing her at a very, very young age. But she and I became very, very, very close, very close. So I'm thankful for that. But going back to the struggles that we have, you guys, we also, as women, as people, it goes back to this part. Let's see. Yet, all dare to dream of a world where character and accomplishment would conquer color and gender. The back of this book, if there's any power that can reverse the fortunes of race, it is character. And so as women who see themselves as not of color, you have a responsibility as well. I've battled the, I don't know what I'll call it, the sister syndrome. It's a woman of color syndrome, almost in every job that I've had. But I'm a fighter. Like, I'm a fighter. And when I tell you I have fought and won, let me say that, fought and won. We are too quiet. You're not going to send me to the back of the bus. And if I go, you're going with me. However we choose to go there, you're going with me. Um, but we all, and our brothers too, our brothers are responsible for um, helping us. You can't make us. Helping us. Helping us build upon our character. Helping us by loving us, being honest with us. Don't lie to us. Don't tell me you love me if you don't. Don't tell me you want me if you don't, because I'm already scarred. I'm already scarred, right? So I'll just say this is about character, no matter what color you are. I'm reminded of this story that got floated around for quite a while, where this white woman spoke up for this black lady in a grocery store. She saw the racism happening and she spoke out on it. That's what it's going to take, right? And we are racist sometimes against white people, and not all white people are the same. And I hate the fact that this is about black and white, because there's other races in the world who are discriminated against, right? So I'm gonna just say women of color, and we're all colored. So if you see a white woman being discriminated against, because we do it too, just as wrong, right? I see sisters hating on Kamala. She ain't black. What damn difference does it make? right? She ain't black. That's all you got to come up with. And why do you really need to come up with anything anyway? Why aren't you searching what you believe, those things that could help you determine who she is, not what color she is? How stupid, and I'm gonna say it again, and you better stay off my page if you feel some kind of way. How stupid it is for you to post things, she ain't black.
Stupid, 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 stupid.
I'm telling you, she
Stupid.
ain't black, but you is. How about that? So this is I'm gonna keep it where it is, where I've left it, because I don't want to get ugly with it. But for women of color, and I'd like for all of us to see ourselves as women of color, right? Let's do that. And character. And what can you accomplish through your character? Because at the end of the day, like we read yesterday, you can tell me your story, whether you're black, blue, whatever, and I'll share these stories with you, right? Place her in a wheelchair, and you have Barbara Jordan, right? Confine them to a prison cell, and they become a Malcolm X or a Nelson Mandela, right? So what to your story? So what if you're black? So what if you're brown? So what if you are light skinned? So what? Tell me who you are. Tell me about your character, your faith, your strength, your relationship with God, right? Because these people, and Frederick Douglass, like, you can have my body, do whatever you may, but my mind you cannot have, because he knew that his mind would take him where he wanted to go and had a plan to go. That's why he read with by any light he could find. Whereas many of you would get your problems and you go hide. These people found solutions to their circumstances and situations. So for my sisters, hey, and this trip, y'all, I mean, wouldn't this be wonderful to repeat? Can you imagine 50 women? Y'all do you think that's even possible today, Brandon?
What?
To get 50 women and do such, to take a trip like this?
I don't think it's
This trip
impossible
that
at
they
all.
took? Really? Okay.
Yep. I don't think it's impossible at all, especially today, with all the resources that are at our disposal. If you can strike a fire in people and they have enough in themselves, I think they could dedicate to it. And
I guess
I
I was
think,
more speaking about the mindset of people today.
well, I think it starts with our outlook on that, right? Like,
Okay.
what does our quote say, right? It says that I refuse to be discouraged, for neither God nor man could use a
Good
discouraged
point.
soul. So if we
Good
say
point.
no, then it is the man who says they can, and the man who says they can't, are
Good
both
point.
right,
Good
right?
point. Thank you for bringing me back in.
No problem. No problem. I was thinking about Rosa Parks. Funny enough that Mike I was actually looking up and reading stuff about her, but Mike put in the comments, he said, do you know Rosa Parks was not the first Black woman to sit
Right.
at the front of the bus?
That's right.
9 months before, Parks' 15-year-old Claudette Colvin had refused to give up her bus seat, but the powers to be didn't use her because of her dark skin and felt like Rosa Parks could get more attention with her looks, right? So some of it might have been set up or whatever. And there's actually, what I was looking up was that there was actually speculation. I don't think there's any historicity to this or any proof of this. It might have been true. But supposedly there's been speculation as of recently that Rosa Parks' husband had a car.
Mm.
There's speculation. There's speculation. And again, speculation is people that don't really know saying, thinking that they do know. Her husband passed away in 1977, but some say that these things were used in order to evoke a reaction and to spark a movement. And in either case, rightly so, to end the inequity that was going on specifically with Black women, not just Black people in general, but Black women. And to speak on that, Black women really bear a lot of the weight when it comes to the social intrusion that happens as a product of racism, as a product of colorism, even within our own ranks and community, meaning if you're light skinned or dark skinned. And I think, Malcolm X said the most unprotected, disrespected woman in America is the Black woman, right? Says she's the most disrespected. But, many of us, we had our great grandmothers or our grandmothers that were the glue, the big mamas that held the families together, right? Mm-hmm. We have she was the one that everyone saw working, and many times, due to social factors, but also government actions, promoted for men to be outside of the households, right? You could get, the war on poverty that we spoke about, right? Part of that war on poverty, which was a national thing, actually resulted in these social programs that incentivize for men to be outside of the household in order for families, their families, to receive some type of government assistance or help, right? And again, these are our tax dollars going back into the base and then given out to provide services for those in need, police, fire, things like that. So these are things that are due to other Americans, right? And it was the question was, how American are Black people, Black women, right? That was really the question. So I want to say something about women of color, but specifically Black women, because I do want to highlight Black women here, because when they go to the hospitals, they're the least listened to. So I think they should be the most spoken about, right? They don't get judged when they say, all right, what's your scale of pain from 1 to 10? She could say 8 and they won't believe her. They'll treat her as if she said 4 or 5. And this is a study that's been done that showed that Black women receive the least beneficial treatment from medical providers because of this preconceived notion and conditioning that she's just going to be an angry, mad Black woman who's going to basically overestimate her symptoms, right? So she could be in a lot of pain, but she really doesn't feel that much. It's the same way that you'll see an animal with half of its leg bitten off by a wolf or a lion or something. It just seems to be walking around. It's a beastly thing, right? To think that, oh, they don't really get hurt. And sometimes we even take that on, right? Like I remember, even looking at my wife, for example. Growing up, I saw my mom do so much, more than she should have. Working 2 and 3 jobs, coming home, making a meal, cleaning up the house, teaching me, schooling me and tutoring me on schoolwork, going out, playing football with me and my friends so we would have an all-time quarterback. You know what I'm saying? So I'm serious. Doing the most, having friends, running a hot wing business out of the house, all kinds of stuff, especially like when my dad was deployed or something. She's trying to mow the yard and clip the hedges, doing all kinds of stuff. And I still need her as my mom, still need her as she's still needed at work. She's still needed, as a wife, even being far apart in the times when my dad was deployed to other countries. I still needed to be a daughter, still needed to be a sister, still needed as a cousin that people could call and have a confidant, someone to bounce ideas off of or just to listen to. Still needing having her own needs, right? But those are always seem to be placed on the back burner and last. So, as the son of that woman, you can grow up with a false perception that
this is what it should be like.
This is what it should be. That women should have an S on their chest, on their back, on their head, on their fists, on their hands, on their feet, on a broomstick is is their superhero weapon. You know what I mean? Their secret weapon. So you just see them as being these incredibly strong and persevering and unneeding human beings. And the truth is they need to make sure that they are good first. That women just inherently must be good themselves, must be maintained themselves. You know, by who? By the men in their circle. Women must be protected. Women must be maintained, right? Because there's one thing about a woman in general is that she multiplies and enlarges whatever you give her as a man or as a community. So if you give her a house, she'll give you a home. So she multiplies it. If you give her groceries, the man brings her groceries, she makes a meal out of it. She enlarges it. She multiplies it in some way. If you give her a smile, she'll give you her heart. So whatever you give a woman, she multiplies it. She makes it greater. And you give her sperm, she'll give you a baby. See what I'm saying? It's natural. We're created in this way. Whatever you give her, she will make it greater. So we also have to think about what we are giving. And I use that that speculation to begin us out with, that what if Rosa Parks' husband had a car? In that day and age, in that time, would it be sensible to say, no, baby, I'm taking you? I'm reminded of my great grandfather and my great grandmother, who she never drove a day in her life. Never drove a day in her life. I don't even know if she knew how to drive from the stories I've heard.
You know what? I doubt that my grandmother ever picked up a box in her life. Like he was, what I saw, y'all, my grandfather was so tender with my grandmother. He would sit out in that car and wait for her. And if she needed to get some heavy things, he'd come in there in the grocery store. We'd walk around, do our thing. But I could remember when we would get to the door, he would get out the car and come over there and get that basket, roll it over to the car, and put those groceries in the car, get Nanny B in the car, close that door. So all I saw was tenderness towards her, right? Just he treated her like cotton, like she was the most delicate thing in his life, right? In life. And so Brandon, I just had to say that because, you know, he drove her everywhere, you know. Um, if I may, and before you finish,
Yeah. No,
remember the conversation we were having while we were having lunch, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and the guy asked, he made a reference about the women today.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that?
Yep.
You made me think about it when he asked Brandon was he married and or something like that, right? And then he said, I hope you don't have, how did he say it? I hope you don't have one of these
One
new
of
women,
those new age women.
new age women. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So when you were talking about you feel like you can get caught up thinking that women today should have that S on their shirt based on the women, my grandmother, my mother, me, based on what you guys, some people grew up in, right?
Mm-hmm. Like
Seeing
a false
women
perception,
going,
like, oh, you guys are supposed to do everything. And it's just,
right. Um, okay, let me see. I want to say this right because I don't want to offend any woman, right? Let me just say this. I didn't do those things through my own strength. There's no way I could have did the things as I hear Brandon, call them out. I sit here now and wonder how did I do it? And he's right. Like I would prep my meal the night while he's asleep. I would iron clothes for the week, right? To make life, to accommodate the life that I knew we would have during the week. I have work. He has school. He has homework. He has football practice. He has band practice. He has all these things. So I didn't have a lot of idle time. Right. And that's something we have to look at ourselves, because it's not about being this superwoman. It's about taking care of business. It's doing what you ought to do, you should do. What you should do, you ought to do.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are a wife, a mother, a sister, whatever, right? And some of these things we didn't, well, none of it, because we didn't ask to be born, right? But especially if you choose, and I'm not talking about men, because I would say the same thing on to them, right? If you choose, women of color, whatever color you are, to be someone's wife, have some define what that means to you and your husband. What does this union look like, so that you could be the best woman of color that you want to be? You may be one that you want to work, right? Then you need to talk about, so when we have kids, what do we do? How do I maneuver that? What does that look like to you, my husband? Right? You husbands, you men, what does that look like to you, my beautiful wife? I don't want you stressed. I don't want our children being raised by someone else. Right? And so we're not communicating enough to see each other's strengths and weaknesses, to understand what life looks like to them in this union. Right? If you're single, you have nobody to, you just do you. But once you become, one woman of color, man of color, and I'm talking about all colors, you are going to have to be a superman or a superwoman. It's just part of and I think we get so wrapped up sometimes in trying to define something or someone, rather than understanding the position we're in and what comes with that. If I work in customer service, there's some duties and responsibilities that come with that. You get them going in the door, right? If I'm a greeter, I have some duties and responsibilities as a greeter. Now, what happens is, when I want them to be different than what the person I work for is telling me, how do you go in somebody's business and do what you want to do? Right? You can make some suggestions, right? And they have a right to say yay or nay. And that's why I'm going to say that, and I'm saying it to say it all comes back to you, your character, right? Your goals, your plan for your goals. Because I could say, so what, based on what we read yesterday, and I'm going to go over that again. But if you guys did not hear August 2nd, equal opportunity, so what? So what color you are? So what? Who you're married to, who you're not married to, what they're doing, what they're not doing. So what? Because there's a way to make it all right. But I'll tell you first, for me, what Brandon described, that wasn't through my own strength. That was me calling on God and depending upon his strength to get me through. And that was about me taking care of my business, right? I had this young child here that was totally just dependent upon me. I was responsible for him, right? And get this, was a single mom, right? And I'm telling you, this is how God, y'all, we miss how God takes care of us. Was probably talked about, right? Single mom, 21. But it came a time in my life that, and God knew this, and I've shared this story, and I'll turn it back over to you, Brandon, that only Brandon would be enough to make me want to stay in this world. And this was years and years and years ago. Brandon was first, second grade, I think, whatever, somewhere around there.
Younger than that. I think I was about, because we were in Valdosta, so.
No. We were in North Carolina.
We were in North Carolina, so that was first grade.
He's at Manchester Elementary School.
First, second grade, yeah.
And I was just sick of people. I was sick of my family. I was sick of life. I was sick of my husband at the time. I'm not lying. But y'all know what? I was sick of myself, like Brandon said. But I wasn't in this phase of life where I am now. I had lost myself. I was lost from that little girl who stood over her grandmother, wanting her to wake up and not leave her here in this world. I had carried that on, had made bad choices, but still God was taking care of me. He was taking care of me. And so focus on how God is, I'm going to say, knocking at your door. Open the door for God. Because there was times, y'all, I remember my neighbor, Lord, I remember being broke. My neighbor knocked on my door and gave me some money. She said, God told me to come over here and bring you some money. She didn't know because I didn't tell people. I just did what I had to do. I made a way. Right? And so I'm coming back to where, because this is about God, not about me, not about the color of my skin, because that's what you need, woman of color, women of color. That's who you need. But I came home this day planning on taking my life. Walked right past this young man right here, went in the bedroom, closed the door. And this little hand, as I sat there on the end of the bed, right side of the bed corner, I noticed this little piece of paper come under the door, fold it. I get up, I go over there, I get the piece of paper. My door was locked. I unfold it, and this grown man right here, as a little boy, had written on a note and drew a heart and said, Mom, I love you. That was God. It was God. And if I had not been a single mama, I would not be here. Because it wasn't about, it was just, I was sick of this world and people. BS. I'm serious. It's like it's everywhere you go. People are effed up. You try to treat them right. You try to live right. And that's where I was. And I was just like, I'm sick. If this is what life is, let me see what the next phase is about. Because this one ain't it. But when I got that, I said, you know who does not deserve the pain that I've been feeling most of my life is this young man right here. And I made a decision that I'm going to stay for you. So I poured everything and some things I didn't have into him. If I didn't know it, I found a way. That's why I went out and I was the quarterback for each section, which side, I guess you would say.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Right? That's why. So women of color, if it's anything, and again, this is not black, brown, blue, whatever. Know first that you are a woman of God. That he's knocking at your door. If you feel like I felt that day, open the door, let him in. Build upon your character. Water your seed. Know that you know that you know that you're a child of God. You're a woman of God. And he will never leave or forsake you. Even when it looks wrong, it's right. Okay? So I'll stop there.
I think that wraps it up. I really do. I think ending on that note and reminding everyone to remember the women that have come before you or that are around you or that support you, and recognize them for the pillars in our community, in our families that they are, and the sacrifices that they have made mentally, physically, in carrying us, in nurturing us, in caretaking, and caring for us, and how they bear a lot of those internal burdens, as we men might pick up the physical burden and the end of that, the physical end of that. Many times women take on the emotional burden of that. Right? They take on the internal burdens of that. So the strength that you don't see in their arms and chest and stature, you find in their heart in many cases. So, and again, that multiplies. If you don't like what you're getting from a woman, check what you're giving. That's to our sisters and to our brothers, whether that's your friend, whether that's for brothers, if that's a significant other, whether that's your sister, whether that's your mother or your grandmother. If you don't like what you're getting, just and it might not be you, but take account of what you're giving, because women do multiply. And I have seen my mother multiply like a mustard seed.
Thank you,
Okay.
friend.
So thank you, mother. Thank you. I recognize you. I champion you. I hold you on high, on a pedestal. You are the mountaintop to me. You are the standard to me. Even though I know you did more than you should have had to do, the standard isn't what you had to do. It wasn't the actions, it was your intention. That is the standard. So while you might have had to do more, and it might be unbearable to expect that upon anyone, that amount of selflessness, might be a natural instinct, God gifted, but it is a burden. Even though you did it with joy, there were times when I knew you were tired. I knew you wanted to press pause for a second and collect yourself. I knew that you needed your own, you needed your mother. You needed your father. You needed to be a daughter, right? So I recognize those sacrifices, and and I'm grateful. I'm grateful for what you gave, despite how you still had a mentality of abundance, even though we might have had what seemed to be lack. You still somehow multiplied. It was in your nature. When the money came from the neighbor or was just put into your account and we didn't know how it got there, that was your essence. That was God giving you your blessings, because what's due to you, even if the whole world and everything in it came against you and God wanted it for you, there's nothing they could do to stop it. And if God didn't want something for you and the whole world and everyone in it wanted you to have it, there's nothing they could do to give it to you.
Right.
So what God had for you was yours. And it was there because of that reason. In your nature, you multiply. So don't be surprised when that $10 in the account became 1,000. Yeah. That's your nature. God blessed you with that. And I think he blessed many women with that. And so, this is a call to all of us, brothers, women. Lift up someone that's a woman. If you can find, especially if you, and for people that aren't from our heritage out there, find a woman of color. Find a woman of color. Find a woman in your life that's a woman of color that has uplifted you, that has been there for you, that has given you that, because trust me, she needs it. Trust me. And it means a lot. When Mom, when you get that email that says job well done, you're doing you're doing an amazing job. You needed that. Right? They need that recognition. Give them some flowers while they're here. Right? Yeah, the next world might be great. And God willing, it is great for you. God willing, the next phase of this eternal experience of life that we're experiencing, I pray that it's good for you. But while you're here and while they are here, let them smell some of these beautiful flowers that they planted. Give them a taste of some of the fruit that they watered. It'll make all the difference, and watch them multiply it again and again and again. So thank you, Mom. Thank you to all the women of color that are here with us today, that are sung and unsung, the ones we see, the ones we don't see. Today on the In the Season podcast, day 185, we recognize you, we love you, we appreciate you, we're grateful for you. There's nothing we could do to repay you. What Tupac said, there's no way I could pay you back, but my plan is to show you that I understand. You are appreciated. So I love y'all so much. Mom,
So,
if you don't
Brandon,
have any...
we have some comments that I'd like
let's do it.
to get through. as I prepare to read these, the sun is all over this. I do want to say this. Let's say for women, because I am my sister's sister,
Hmm.
and to me, it doesn't matter what color she is.
Oh no,
Um,
no.
I was no, 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 no. I just want to say that because we have the title. The title is from the book, but I want to say this because I was reminded of a sister who is not who is not a woman of color, as the title is. Um, Eve Settles. When I tell you, and
Oh
she's a
yeah.
white woman. When I tell you, Miss Eve doing the most, as of date, the most difficult time in my life. This white middle-aged woman, probably 10 years or more older than me, showed up in ways for me. I'm just gonna keep it real that none of my sisters did.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean sisters that I felt like were real sister friends during the most difficult time in my life ever. She was there. And by there, I mean, well, I'll just say she was there. She got me through. She helped to get me through. And so that's why it's about character.
Women of
Integrity,
character.
right? For women of character, right? And I get it because I used to be one of those women who you would get me off just walking in the room and I know nothing about you. I was stupid, right? Just stupid, out of my lane, right? So for all women and men, and for women, I'll say this: seek God. That's the difference. I think back in the day, our parents and grandparents weren't perfect, but I learned a lot by looking at my grandparents, and especially in the way that they loved God. Not their life, but just the way that I saw that they reverenced God. That was first for them, and that's why there's strength. So women, if I had to give you say one thing, is seek ye first the kingdom of God. Pray for your husband. Pray over him. Touch him. Get you some. Man, I got some oil, blessed oil. I still don't know if y'all believe, but I believe in blessed oil. I just pray. I still got some to this day here, right? If that's not your thing, pray for him. Get on your knees. Pray for your family. Pray for your children every day. Every day. And then I'm really gonna go. I'm gonna read these comments. Oh gosh, what's his name? I should know this actor's name. His mother said, I prayed for him every day. And he is one of the most, oh look, Denzel. How did I miss Denzel? To me, he's one
Yeah,
of the
so
most respected. Yeah, she said, I prayed for him every day, not to be successful, like to be blessed. God bless him, have mercy. So women and men too, pray over your wife. Pray over your wife. I saw this photo video of this young black couple who was getting married in Atlanta, and this man, her future husband, brought his guys together, put her in the center, and they stood around her and they prayed for her. That young man knows. Because Mike says, one of the most important decisions a man can make is the woman that he chooses. So while you might want to choose tits and butt and weave, you better be looking at her soul and her spirit and her character and her integrity, how she treats people, right? So let me read these comments and get out of here. Mike says, nothing is impossible. There are a lot of, y'all, the sun is in this all together. There are a lot of race warriors out there, people who use the hate and racism for profit. Mike also says, one of the most important things in life for a man is choosing the right woman. She can either elevate you or she can either destroy you. beautiful daughter in love says, when I'm at or in my lowest points in life, I think of my children and refer to them as my anchors to this world, to keep going and to not give up. And she says, love you, sweet mama. I love you too. That's beautiful. Daughter in love, Brandon's beautiful wife. And y'all, Brandon married his mama. You don't know that. We are much alike in many, many ways. I see it a lot. So, but Stella, I love you too. You're precious to me. And I thank you for sharing the babies. And, I think it's because of what my grandparents did for me and how I feel they helped shape my life. It's so important for me to be present and give Stella the help when she needed, because I didn't have to look for babysitters until we moved away, of course, and then I didn't do much of that anyway. But and that's another thing, as back in the day, we did have help at some levels. Now, when I moved away, of course, I didn't, like I said, but rarely did you have to find someone to keep, and you always had someone there to help be the keeper or the overseer of your children. So, women of color, let's stand up and grow in character and know whose we are, no matter what color you are. And remember that you are your sister's sister and you are your brother's sister. All right? We can close it out, Brandon.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Mom. I appreciate you. I love you. Y'all, thank you for attending the show, for providing us those great comments and that good attention. And I hope that we gave you, that you felt our intention in doing this show. This is for character development. This is a tool of transformation for growth on the journey of not only just life, but the journey of a successful life. And I wish you all success on this day, on the next, in this life, and in the next, in the here and now, and in the hereafter. So today, uplift a woman of character. I will correct and say a woman of character, because all skin folk ain't kin folk, and some that ain't skin folk is closer to us and will do more for us than the people that look like us. Why? Because color is immaterial. It's immaterial to our success and to the character and the heart and even the potential of the human spirit, the human soul, the human compassion. So let's uplift those women today. So find a woman that has uplifted you, that has been a pillar in your life. Thank them. Just give them a call and say, in the first 10 words that you say, I just wanted to say thank you. I love you. Check on you. Thought about you. How are you? Something like that. Right? Care for them on this day. I love y'all. Thank you again for joining us. Be back here tomorrow on day 186. If you're on the YouTube channel and we are live, please subscribe to the channel. That lets the algorithm know that this is the content that you want to see, that you enjoy. Share this video with a woman of character that you know and love, and let her know that this show reminded you of her. So with that being said, y'all take care. We'll see you tomorrow on day 186 of the In This Season podcast. Take care. Peace.